Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited checking out Goblout, the Degoblinaid from Exod Games. This is for 2 to 5 players, ages 8 plus. It'll take about 20 to 30 minutes to play. And in Goblout, the Degoblinaid, the Goblin King has died. So now you must obviously have a Goblout or a Degoblinaid in order to decide who is the new Goblin King. Yeah, the name is kind of dumb. I don't understand it. I read the little comic that's included in it. I don't know if this is like a translation of a word from a different language or what exactly is going on here, but this is a simple, light dice game in which you're going to be rolling dice and then playing cards based on what is on your dice, trying to destroy every other opponent, or, alternate win condition, get 5 white cards in front of yourself. But these white cards are also going to give you persistent special abilities along the way. It's light, it's simple, but is it good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Goblout, the Degoblinaid. So first and foremost, we have our handy-dandy rule booklet. It is 7 pages, double-sided, full color. It's got pictures, illustrations, lots of stuff. Very well done. And the first 2 pages are actually just comics, so it's a very short, concise rule booklet. Pretty well done, should have you up and running in no time at all. I think there were maybe 1 or 2 minor questions we had about like order of operations, different stuff like that, but overall, well done rule booklet. So in Goblout, the Degoblinaid, your job is to either collect 5 of these white cards in front of you like this, in which case you win the game, or to destroy all the other goblins so you could be the Goblin King. And it's all explained in this little comic right here. Even though the comic doesn't exactly sync up with the front cover, which does annoy me, because this is what's going on in the comic, and this is what's going on in the front cover. But hey, whatever. The other way to do it is you kill everybody by making them lose all their health, which are these white crystals right here. So let's get into the components, then let's get into the gameplay. So component-wise, everybody's going to get 1 die, which is going to have a whole bunch of different faces on it that will have different symbols and different colors, and I'll explain that a little bit later. They're going to start with 10 health unless you're playing, I think it's a 5-player game, in which case it goes to 8 health. Everybody's going to get one of these handy-dandy little player aid cards, which is actually really stinking useful, and everybody gets one, so I love when companies can do that. And then everyone is going to get dealt 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's take a look at some of these cards, and I'll show you what they do. There's only a few types of cards. So first we have warriors. These guys are going to deal 1 damage to a person. Pretty self-explanatory. Next we have the brown cards, which will have the lightning bolt in the top left. These cards can be played at any time, even when it's not your turn. Very powerful cards. This one lets you draw 3 cards, but they do a variety of different things. And then we have the white cards. And the white cards are one of the ways you can win the game. And most of them also give you a persistent special ability for having the card out in front of you. So your warriors and brutes may block and be deployed during the defense step, which is actually pretty stinking useful. Archer, when deployed, you may destroy a white card of your choice. In my personal opinion, the low-key most powerful card in the game, because it can prevent someone from winning the game, because you can only play 1 white card during your turn. It's right there on the bottom of all the cards, but that's a big, big rule. We got another brown one. Roll any die again, including dice from other players. Very powerful card. Let's see, we're looking for purple and then the wild. There we go. So next we have purple. This is a brute. It's just like a bigger version of the red card. He'll deal 2 damage instead of 1 damage. And then we have the wild. Bingo! This guy right here, the super goblin, who is half red and half blue, and he could be either deal 1 damage or block. Oh yeah, and blue, which is going to allow you to block either the red or purple guy. And those are pretty much all the cards you're going to get in the game. Now, some of the persistent white cards and some of the brown cards are going to do a whole bunch of different things, but those are the general cards you're going to see in your game. So what do you do on your turn? Well, it's really quite simple. Everyone's going to take, one person's going to do everything on their turn, and then it's going to move on to the next person, and you can actually just follow this handy-dandy little player aid cards. The first thing you're going to do is the draw step, which means if you don't like your hand for one reason or the other, you can discard as many of the cards from your hand and draw back up to 5 or 6 if you have, well, actually this card right here. At the start of your turn, draw up 6 cards. Now, why would you want to get rid of some of your cards? Well, it's really dictated by this die right here, because the die is going to tell you which cards you can play on your turn. So currently on my turn, I can only play red or purple, and now I can only play white or red, or I can only play white or purple. Now, that being said, the next phase after the draw step is the dice phase, which is going to allow you to keep what you have there or roll it once, and then if you still don't like what you have, you can pay 1 health to change it to whatever die face you would like. So let's see, what would I realistically like to do? Destroy all cannon fathers of another player. That one's actually, I might want to go white and purple. So you know what, I'm actually really happy with this, and I'm going to keep yeah, I'm actually going to keep this right now. I'm going to keep what's in my hand right here, and then so then we move on to the die step. I do not want to roll my die, so I'm actually just going to keep it. And then we get to what's called the deployment step. This is where you are going to place down in front of you all the cards you would like to play this turn. So I'm going to play this Brute, I'm going to play this Brute, and I'm actually going to play this Adventurer. So my hand size will now start being 6 cards as opposed to 5. So we did the deployment step. Now we're going to do the attack step. So this is where the white guy's going to stay here because he's just ability I have now. I'm going to put these in front of either one person or 2 people because you can split up attacks. So what I might do is I'd probably just put them over here on this person. You'll see why in a second. So I'm going to put both of these right here. So this person now has 4 incoming damage. They now have to deal with the defense. So they look over here on the other side, the defense up. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to draw 1 card. So we'll just give this person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, since it's the first turn, they would have 5, but normally you would probably not have 5 cards in your hand. And so now they have, boom, this 6 card, because the first thing they're going to do is draw 1 card. Then they have the die step, where they can either keep the dice in front of them, or they can roll it. So right now they have the white and they have the blue, so that's pretty good. Let's take a look at their hand and see what they'd probably do. They have 1 blue in their hand. Wow, it's a really, really bad hand. They have 1 blue in their hand, so they would probably keep that die so they could at least block one of these damages. And then they're going to be able to put out these guys to defend themselves. But this is where I would play this card. Haha, cannon. Destroy all cannon fodders of all players. So, actually, I could have done it to everybody, but oh well. I just want to pick on this guy. So this cannon fodder, which is the blue card right here, is now destroyed, which means this person is going to have 4 incoming damage, which is a lot of damage to be taken on the first turn. This person's probably not going to be attacked very much the rest of the game, and they could have a pretty good chance to win, but we'll see. So if they don't have anything to block it, they are just going to take the damage. Boom, 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 boom. They take the 4 damage, and that's the end of the defense step. This person is not very happy because I just waylaid them. Then it goes back to me, and my turn is over. I don't get to draw new cards until my next turn during the draw step. So this is a double-edged sword here because everybody knows I only have 1 card left, which means I am ripe for the pickings if they want to attack me. Now, that being said, I still get to draw 1 card on the defense step, so someone else I could potentially still block someone else. So that was my turn. It would move on to this next person over here, and they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to rinse, wash, repeat. They're going to do the draw step, getting rid of cards, then drawing back up. They're going to decide whether or not they like their dice, and if they want to, re-roll their dice or spend a health to change whatever they want. They're going to deploy their cards. They're going to send out their cards to attack. We'll go through the defense dance again, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to keep doing that until someone has lost, until everyone except for 1 player has lost all their health, or until someone has 5 of these cards out here, in which case they will be the immediate winner of the game. And that, in a nutshell, is how you're going to play Goblout the Degoblinaid. Alright then, Goblout the Degoblinaid from Exod Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side. Game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. The first one is, it is light and it is simple. So if you are not in the market for a game on the lighter side, where most of the choices you make are going to be pretty obvious choices, this one's not probably going to be for you. This is definitely more in the family game market and also in the people who are still in the lighter side of the hobby market, in my personal opinion, just because, like I said, most of the choices you make are going to be, all right, should I attack this person or should I attack that person? Let's see, this person has 2 cards, this person has 1 card, but this person also has X amount of health, this person has X. I mean, you're going to be looking at everything on the table and then normally making decisions that are pretty rational decisions. Also, and this is more of a nitpick, I wish there were more white cards that had persistent special abilities, because I really do like those persistent special abilities. As you start to accumulate white cards, you feel a little bit like a superhero, like, hey, you can't, oh yeah, you can do that. Or hey, you have oh, you can draw up to 6 cards. And there is a good deal of those cards. I think there's, somewhere between 5 and 10 special different ability cards, but I wish there were more. There's a lot of duplicates. And I think I would have preferred if they went more like a King of Tokyo route, where every single goblin had their own different things they were doing. Now, I understand that that does throw a wrench in balancing-wise, so that's probably going to be a lot more difficult. But I think that would have made the game a little bit better, at least in my personal opinion, because those persistent special abilities are really cool. Also, there's a couple of them that don't do anything, which is really disappointing when you get those, and it's like, oh, so this person gets to roll the dice twice, this person gets to defend with Warriors and Brutes, and I get nothing. I get flavor text. So it's not a huge deal, but it is something that I did want to mention. I liked it best. I think 3 and 4 is the sweet spot on this. We did play a 5-player game of it, and it was a little bit longer than you might like it to be, just because you can spread out attacks. That was the main issue that we had, is that I was playing with kids in the 5-player game, and they wanted to be nice, and so one lady was like, all right, we got 4 attacks, and it's like, here's an attack for you, an attack for you, an attack for you, an attack for you, and so we all had to each deal with our own separate defense step, and it did take a little bit longer. That being said, I still enjoyed it. The kids still really enjoyed it. That's something I'm going to be telling you in the pros. The kids really, really like this game in my class. I did play it with adults, and my game group's a little bit more on the heavier side, and this didn't go over as well. They thought, it's okay. It's a lightweight filler game, because it does clock in about the 20 to 30 minute range, especially once you get the engine turning and you know what you're doing. I don't think it's something that we play again on my personal game night, but in my classroom, as I'm going to tell you pros, it did go over very well. Any other cons that I have with the game? Like I said, there were, I think, maybe 1 or 2 things that I can't actually remember off the top of my head. Some little tiny rule questions, like order of operation things, where we weren't quite sure how it was supposed to go. We thought we knew, but those are the kind of things that I wish there was an FAQ in there, maybe in the back or something like that. Minor detail, but it is something that I did want to mention. That's what I got. Moving on to the pros, I thought Goblout was good. I did enjoy it, but I'm going to meet my kids in my classroom in the middle who thought this was great. They really liked this game. They really liked the concept of the dice, and I did. I thought the dice concept was really cool, where if you didn't have the right face on the dice, you could not play your cards. Now, that being said, you could lose a health to do it, but that's not the optimal solution, because especially if you're playing 5 players, you only have 8 health. That's pretty dicey, and there's only a few cards in the game that are going to give you more health, and if those don't turn up for you, well, then you're kind of out of luck. Like I did in that example, I took 4 health off that person in the first round. That is 40% of that person's health, or 50 if we're playing 5 players. That's a lot. So the attacks in this game, they really do land, and I like how there's this really interesting balance between, I want to play a lot of cards on my turn because I want to deal damage, and I want to play white cards, and I want to use my lightning special abilities, and I want to draw a whole bunch of new cards next turn and do a whole bunch of different things. But then at the same time, by doing that, you are left very susceptible to other people attacking you because you have pretty much no cards in your hand. And I do like how there's a lot of fail-safes in there. This is like it's almost like a socialist game where it's like, all right, all right, I see that you spent all your cards foolishly, so we are going to grant you the ability to still draw a card even when you're being attacked. And I do like that. I thought that was a really cool mechanism, and you get to roll your dice as well. So maybe you might not even have a blue card in your hand. You might have a white card in your hand, but you still might want to roll your dice so that way you can be set up better for the next time you play, so because you want to play a white card. And I did like how that worked. I felt like the game was forgiving enough, and I thought that was a really good aspect to the game, especially when you're marketing this as potentially a family game, which I think is primarily going to be the niche for this game. Yes, lighter game groups and families, I think, are really going to enjoy this game. It does not stay its welcome, maybe a little bit at the 5-player count, but still it wasn't terribly bad. I like the artwork in the game. I like the streamlined simplicity of the game. It was easy to learn and easy to teach, aside from those few minor hiccups I did mention. The dice are nice, components are nice, the cards are nice. I like how there's 5 separate player aid cards. Yes! Yes! If your game plays 7 players, include 7 player aid cards. If your game plays 2 players, include 2 player aid cards. I don't know why this is such a hard concept for some companies, but thank you, Exod Games, for making 5 player aid cards for your 5-player game. That just drives me nuts sometimes. Yeah, I think this is the kind of game that actually, even for me, could potentially get bumped into the very good to great region if they did come out with an expansion in the future too. Just more cards, because this is the kind of game that would be right for the picking just for more cards, more white cards, more brown cards, maybe more of those wild cards or something like that. I really did like that, but I'm going to meet in the middle. I'm going to give this a solid 7.5. Kids in my class thought it was great. They really, really liked this game. It was a lot of fun. They liked attacking people, and then there was these exciting moments where it's like, oh my gosh, all she has to do is roll a white, and then she wins the game, and it's like, oh no, she didn't get a white! But then she could spend a health, but she only has 1 health left. We actually had a really exciting moment where this kid in my class only had 1 health left. So she could not change the dice to the face that she wanted to without dying. And it got back around to her, and she had to roll the white. She did roll the white. She actually won. She was very excited about it. But the game led to an exciting moment like that she's going to remember for quite some time. So, in the end, Goblout, the Degoblinaid. Yes, it's a dumb name. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. That is just such a super dumb name. But, good to great game, depending on if you're looking at this as a lightweight game or a family game. I think if you're looking at this as a family game, this is definitely one you might want to check out. So there you go. Goblout, the Degoblinaid. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. If you want to support the channel, click in the show notes down below. Click on that little Amazon link. Buy anything on Amazon. It throws a couple pennies my way. It really does help out the channel. And in the comments below, let me know. What would be your strategy to be the Goblin King? It's a really interesting question. My strategy to be the Goblin King. They're really short. These goblins are really short. I feel like I could use that against them somehow. How would I use goblins being short against them? I don't know. Maybe I just get like a pair of like metal leggings, like metal that just covered all the way up to my nipples, and then you could leave my arms free to just whack them with swords and knives and stuff. So yeah, I think I would just get like some metal like full body suspenders. So that way, that even if they whack me super hard, you know, it's going to bruise the living heck out of me. But they're not going to be able to hurt me because they're so short. And then I'll have the high ground pretty much. And I'll just be slamming them in the heads, just bam, 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 just walking through them, just knocking them down. Because I don't think there's any tall ones in this game. And I didn't see any long-range weapons. Apparently they, that being said, they could start throwing axes at me. That'd be a big problem. But let me know in the comments below. This has gone on way too long. How would you become the Goblin King? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.